There are polls. If you go up there to the top, right beside where you see the blue chat, to the right, there's a thing that says poll people Q&A. And click on the polls and go over there and answer this while I figure out what's going on. Hey, technology. We've been doing this for well over a year now. We just got to roll with the punches. It appears we are having an issue with the sound on the recording.
Ches, if you want to go ahead and grant me access, I think. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, you're in here.
Okay.
Yeah, you're an admin.
While you work on that a little bit, I'm going to discuss, and I know John was going to cover this, and we may have a chance to go ahead and get to it in the video, but last year, John Duffy did an amazing job because FAFSA completion rates were so down this past year with everything going on with the pandemic, and just students and educators and their counselors and everybody having access to one another to sit down in person. As Kim Cook said earlier, it really came down to that individual one-on-one working with students and their families to get those FAFSAs completed. And we just didn't have those opportunities this year. So John did a wonderful job last year of once the pandemic had calmed down a bit and folks were just getting some of their initial vaccinations. Everyone was still wearing masks. We followed all the COVID protocols, but he organized a centralized FAFSA completion event at the Charleston Civic Center and invited all the Kanawha County schools and students, seniors, and their families to attend. And it was absolutely an amazing event. We had as many of our local financial aid professionals as we could round up, including our folks here at the Higher Education Policy Commission, Division of Financial Aid, many of our folks from the Division of Student Affairs, the Gear Up program, our local colleges, college representatives and financial aid representatives at those colleges came out in attendance. So we had several FAFSA completion experts on hand to help, again, in a socially distanced and safe environment, sit down with those students and address some of the concerns they were having, address some of the questions and issues in order to help them get their FAFSA completed. John and his counselors and their counseling staff did a wonderful job in the lead up to that event of letting those students and their families know the types of information that they were going to need to bring with them in order to complete the FAFSA. We also invited, a lot of those local CTE, the career and technical education programs, the 2-year colleges, 4-year institutions to come out and set up booths, once again, socially distanced from one another. We did a lot of outreach on site that day to help with Promise Scholarship completion, West Virginia Higher Education Grant, just information and what they, letting them know that their FAFSA, completing the FAFSA would enroll them for the higher ed grant. The West Virginia Invest Grant, which was still relatively new, and we're finding out more and more that as much publication, information as we put out there about it, it's still relatively new and unknown. So the students had a lot of questions or they hadn't heard about it. So just trying to get that information out there, letting them be aware and know that there was an additional application process for the Invest Grant program and what that meant. So it was a really cool event that John organized, and it looks like Ches has got the video pulled back up now. So I'll let them go ahead, and they're likely going to touch on it. But I just want to kind of put in a personal plug because we had the opportunity to attend that event. It's one of the very few in-person events we went to last year. But it was really neat to see how well organized and structured it was and how well run it was on that day. So.
JR, I don't have the video pulled up, but I have their PowerPoint presentation. You always have a backup plan. So I'm going to, off the cuff, try to do their presentation for them. It pays to talk to people and know, stay in the know and know what folks are doing around the state and the county.
Ches,
because we keep a, can you hear me okay?
You're really cutting out. So it may be sound from your connection. You might want to try to log out completely and come back in.
Well, I can't because I think it's because we're both on right now because I've got everything loaded up on mine.
Okay, right? Let me back out and see if it helps.
Okay. Are we good now? Can somebody give me a thumbs up in the chat? Sorry, guys. Rolling with punches. Okay, so having talked to Heidi and John extensively throughout College App Week this year and in the spring semester, one of the things that Heidi did specifically at Sissonville High School is she did a lot of prep work. It's really broken. Hold on. I have a feeling it's my Teams. It's going nuts. Let me close it. Does that help any? Because I don't want to lose you guys. She did a whole lot of prep work with her seniors, getting them ready for College App Week. As you guys know, all of our students now have to have that PEP done. She made sure that everybody had theirs updated in October. It's still really breaking up. Okay, give me just a minute. Give me just a minute. I'll be right back. Y'all stay put. I'm going to bounce out for a minute.
Well, I'll just try to correct that one last time. I'll come back in. Are there any questions on John's video so far? I know they've covered a lot about their college application exploration week. I checked out the polls. It looked like, let me actually pop in here real quick and see if we have any updated results. Several of you say hosted several CAEWs. I like to rejuvenate it. I think that's something we get a lot, especially with our Gear Up schools, is we require them to do college application exploration week every year, and it just starts to feel like we're recycling a lot of the same ideas. So we're always looking for new ideas and trying to pump some fresh energy into that college application exploration week as well. The one thing I will say, though, is, and you have to kind of bear this in mind a little bit, is because that program is typically targeted primarily at seniors, although it can serve, all grades, and it's good at any point in time to do some career exploration, college exploration, going ahead and taking some of the initial steps. But they are new, and the students are new in a sense every year. So even though it feels a little repetitive to us, you have to, and I'm preaching to the choir. I know you guys understand that, but we hope that those students, because they're new every year, are still gaining a lot of very useful information and knowledge throughout the course of that event.
I just sent you a PowerPoint.
Several of you are asking what College Application Exploration Week is, and hopefully John's video helped address some of that. So I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint now. Let me do a screen share.
Come over here with you.
Chez is wandering in with me.
Hi. All right.
This one?
Yes. We've got this, guys. We're rolling with the punches. Thanks for being patient. So I put up in the chat, our next College App Week is November 1st through 5th. I'm going to have the registration for schools up probably mid to late August. There we go. I think you're in preview mode. You're still in your email.
Too many screens.
There we go. We're getting there. We're just started. There we go. Or where's the hop in? I want to make sure they see us, or we see the chat box that they can see us. All right, we're good. Okay, so we need to go ahead and advance. Sorry.
It's all right.
I want to get to the PEP part. All right, everybody. Are we still sounding like a super weird in the chat? Okay, we're good. So I think we advanced one too many slides, but that's okay. So one of the things that Heidi made sure that she did was she got everybody prepped, all the seniors prepped the month or so before College App Week. She made sure that everybody's PEP was updated. She did it, September, October, there at the beginning of the school year. She did a huge senior class meeting a couple of weeks before College App Week so that she wasn't springing this idea on them all at once. And they started talking about FAFSA, the opening, the FAFSA, the FAFSA had opened, started talking about scholarships. This one right here, one right there. Started talking about scholarships, what the goals were for the school, for them personally, the process of how you go about applying to school and technical colleges, different types of updates that she was going to be providing on the counseling website and Schoology, and any type of group news feeds that they had. And specifically, she wanted to make sure that everybody's CFWV account they could get logged into and that they were utilizing the resources that were provided there. So she wasn't springing any new ideas in on the kids. She had them ready to rock and roll. Go ahead, advance. She worked on the plan. They were brought to the school computer labs. They completed that plan testing. They were all, they looked at least one college, one tech school. They filled out applications for them. The kids that attended Ben Franklin Center, which is one of our career tech schools here, they completed applications. All the core teachers worked with her. This wasn't just the counseling department's initiative. They incentivized it in their classes as well for students, especially when it came to the completion of the applications. They actually had cash drawings that were given away during morning announcements for seniors that finished applications. And I don't actually think it was like actual cash money. I think it was whatever the equivalent, like their mascot, Sissonville money that they they used in their gift shop. That took place Wednesday through Friday. And remember, like, we were smack dab, half the kids were virtual, half the kids were in brick and mortar. So they had virtual college tours, they had general college information that was promoted throughout the week, and she still had a really successful time. Go ahead.
And just to touch on the virtual college tours, guys, there's two websites that we launched last year, the West Virginia College Road Trip website and the U Visit, which we put some money and some updates into in order to get more of our West Virginia colleges featured on. So, and I'll cover those two websites more extensively in a burst session later today, beginning at 4:30. So if you're interested in learning a little more about those sites and how to use them to complete virtual college tours, make sure to catch me then.
So Heidi is fantastic from what John has told me about being a documentation queen. And you guys know documentation is nothing new, especially, if you're in education, we've got to document absolutely everything. She kept apparently just some meticulous spreadsheets. Once an application was completed, she was in there checking things off twice. Document. And then she had she had another staff member double checking her work from what I gather. If students were full-time virtual all day Ben Franklin, or they were e-learning, that was noted in there as well. When it came time for her to submit her post-survey work, I will say this for College App Week, meticulous. Like, she went above and beyond even the things that we ask for on a state level. She was sending emails. Like, I've seen the documentation. There no ifs, ands, or buts. Which students applied, where they applied, who they were, where they applied to, and how many applications they had sent in. We just sat in on Kim Cook, and she was talking about one-on-one counseling with students. You call them in if they've not submitted a FAFSA application. There's no doubt in my mind that she knew exactly which of her seniors had not submitted an application, and she didn't have them in her office talking about it. You want to talk about knowing your kids inside and out. Documentation such as that helps with it. Their results were fantastic. And you guys need to remember, Sissonville High School, for those of you not familiar with Kanawha County, is one of three probably of our community schools, small community schools that are really left in the area. And the result, and it's a rural school. The results are phenomenal. 75% of their seniors completed a 2 or 4 year college application, enlisted in a branch of the military, or completed an application to a career and tech center during College App Week. And y'all, do you see the stat? By the end of this academic school year, 91.6% of their entire senior class had applied to a post-secondary institution. That's amazing. They have 2 Underwood Smith teaching scholars that have, we've been showcasing them on all of our social media sites. That's phenomenal. That's coming out of this graduating class from Sissonville.
Underwood Smith was while it's not a new program, it's a completely revamped scholarship program here and refocused in the state of West Virginia to attract more of our students into the field of education. And it was a $10,000 a year scholarship opportunity, so $40,000 over their 4 years of higher ed to cover expenses and tuition and fees and all those things associated with getting a college education. So absolutely wonderful. And to have two from the one high school, there were only 25 statewide, I believe. So,
and for more information on Underwood Smith, go check out that new website, college4westvirginia.com. It's where all of our financial aid information is now housed. We have a GSC homegrown scholarship recipient, Sydney. She's at Glenville State now, secondary general science. Super excited about that. Horace Mann Middle School, one of the feeder schools to Capitol High School here in Kanawha County. They're grade 8 students. They received 2 advisory class periods where they had the time to create their CFWV accounts. Every last one of them completed a career cluster survey, which is where I would start with the students as well. They added the career cluster to their PEPs. During that week, they discussed the results with their advisors and teachers. The counselor there, individual follow-up with each one of her students during that counseling session for the students that wish to discuss it. Talked about their goals, their interests. They took home a paper copy of their PEP for their parents to sign and return. Horace Mann and DuPont had the 2 highest signed PEP return rates in their district at 89% during that week, which is phenomenal. You guys know middle school students don't bring things back. They don't bring paperwork back. They had almost 90% of their papers brought back. That's fantastic. If you don't know, now you know. The Career Cluster Survey is available via CFWV. It is a fantastic tool. This is a tool that I promote when I'm out there in the field working with kids, doing trainings with teachers and counselors and administrators across the state. Our career clusters in the state are aligned with the national career clusters. It really gives the students a strong idea of what's available to them in terms of career exploration, jobs they might not have ever thought of before. And it can base it off their interests, what they're interested in, which is fantastic. It's a really great starting point and springboard for them to begin thinking about this, and it helps them fulfill one of the requirements on their PEP. So Chamberlain Elementary School is one of the elementary schools in Kanawha City here in Kanawha County. Their kindergarten, first grade, second grade, they fill out applications to attend Monster University, which I think is fantastic. They made ID badges to get them familiar with the college process. They really got the kids involved hands-on. Their third through fifth grade students, they got to research colleges and choose one that they might attend. They made pennants to show support. They all got to be super fans. They made a great big, huge map, and they put it around the school to show their support, and they could see it. And what they did is they had their teachers everywhere that they had all their teachers had graduated. They put push pins in there so they can see all the different state schools that their teachers had been to or graduated from. They were asked to interview a person of their choice that attended an institution of higher ed, and we've already had issues with videos. We're not going to play this, but some of them are really, really cute. They pretended to be reporters and they interviewed people, and it was great. We've seen them.
Yeah, if you get a chance to check it out, again, these slides and everything will be shared with you, so you can click on that link and check out the video later on too. So.
They were able to explore websites for Monster University, and if you guys have never checked out Monster University, there is a website that you can go to, and it's pretty gosh darn adorable, especially for the little ones, teaching them how the process works. Like we said, some seniors submitted that FAFSA. I think JR talked to you guys a little bit about that. The statewide goal for 2021 was 65% to submit by July 1. And I think they might have a chart up for this.
Last year, we were right on track to really hit that 65% goal. Even as a state, specifically, I worked directly with the Gear Up programs. Our Gear Up schools were right on target, and then the pandemic hit, and it just flatlined. And this year, we had a hard time recovering. We just started off the year, the first 2 months of the year, everything was so far behind that it felt like we were just coming from behind all year long. We really closed the gap, as Kim showed earlier. At one point in time, we were down 25% from last year. We closed that gap significantly, but still ended up down. And we know we're going to have to do some things going into the new year to turn that around even more so. But we know we can do it.
I believe you talked about their FAFSA event a little bit.
Yeah. I did, yep. I shared some of this information with you about this event with you already, so we won't cover this again.
So, guys, Google this if you can. It's out there on the internet. Just put in KCS FAFSA video. So Jennifer Gardner, she's Charleston's sweetheart. You know, she went to school here. She graduated from my alma mater. She's a little bit older than I am. Not by much, though. So John Duffy happens to know Jennifer's mother and put out a request if she would do a video inviting all of the seniors in Kanawha County to attend the FAFSA event. And lo and behold, Jennifer found time out of her very busy schedule to record a really compelling video giving stats, like West Virginian stats of why it was so important to fill out the FAFSA that we ended up sharing statewide, just why it was important, not just for Kanawha County students. It's 2.5 minutes of just Jennifer being Jennifer and sheer joy. And we were so excited that John was able to get this. They played it all over the place. The students were super excited about it. Please check it out if you can. It's very delightful. It's great. So as of June 18th, and I'm going to let you talk about this because Dad is your middle name. This was the percentage of the senior class that completed the FAFSA of what West Virginia. Is this one that does West Virginia and the Kanawha County?
He's got Kanawha County pulled up here. So it shows, you know, they ended up at, let me see, they're looking at 56.5%. So they were 5.5% above.
Yeah.
Well, nearly 5% above the state rate, the final state standing as far as FAFSA completion. So that's 5% doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a significant amount, especially in one of the state's largest counties. That's a big deal. Unfortunately, again, our statewide goal was 65%. We fell significantly short of that. And as you guys know, I mean, all the challenges we faced this year, FAFSA completion likely wasn't the highest on the list of priorities as far as the year went. So to still have a strong completion rate and finish well above the state rate or state average, I thought was great for Kanawha County. We have work to do. This is an area it's going to remain one of our primary focuses. I know we and my Gear Up folks that are out there, they'll second me on this. We push them very hard, but they push their seniors very hard to complete a FAFSA because we've just seen the difference that it makes as far as giving students options. Even if they don't decide to go to a 4-year institution or a 2-year institution, it at least allows them almost that safety net of, you know, if I go to a military service and it doesn't work out for one reason or another, whatever that may be, they get there and they realize they have a heart condition. And all of a sudden they find themselves back home after a week of basic training. Now what? Well, if they've completed their FAFSA in a timely manner, they have options. Same thing can be said that those students that say, I'm not going, or I have a job lined up, and they get out and they work that job for a month and then realize, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this for the next 30 years. And they make a very late decision to go to a institution of higher ed, whether it be 2-year, 4-year, or a certification training program, whatever it may be. Again, they have that FAFSA completed in a timely manner. Whereas if they wait and after they've made that decision and then complete a FAFSA, they may have missed out on a lot of the free forms of financial aid that are out there and financial assistance. So we push very, very hard for students to get this completed in a timely manner. That being March 1st for some of those, high performing students, scholarship deadlines, it being April 15th for the West Virginia Higher Education Grant and a wide variety of other West Virginia specific scholarship and grant opportunities that are available to nearly all students in our state. So April 15th is really that high priority deadline for all students. Try to get that done as early as possible. And because they launched it 3 months earlier, starting 2 years ago, it's open October 1st now. And I know it's early in the school year and it's tough to start pushing that out early, sometimes in cases where students haven't even applied to an institution yet. but it never hurts to get the FAFSA done, get it done early, get it out of the way. It's one less step they have to worry about later in their senior year when so many things are going on. So that's my FAFSA soapbox for a moment. So
there you go. So the college fair coming up is going to be October 2021 college fair. The one here in Kanawha County, they're going to hold it at UC at the University of Charleston campus, which is great. They're going to complete and submit online post-secondary admission applications for 2-year VOTEC trade programs during the fair. They're all going to be using their iPads, which is super great. The seniors are going to participate registering with their FSA IDs and student section of the FAFSA.
The college fair schedule, I believe, is now out, or at least,
or it's getting. Is it out? Or I think the rest of this, like, there's still areas and regions that are finalizing. Some details, but it's almost there. John can release this information because he sits on the Kanawha County committee that makes this decision. So
it will be out very soon if it hasn't been launched already. I know they were, like Heather said, I know they were very close to finalizing all details. It's about an 8-week event. It's back to an in-person college fair tour this upcoming year. So they will be coming out to your region, if not your high school.
It should be out soon. And I'm saying that it's not quite finalized because we haven't been told where we're going yet for our travel season. So like I said, College App Week, Exploration Week is going to be November 1st through 5th. Look at him, John. He's got our microsite, our landing page already up there. When the registration goes live, it's going to be housed there. I'll be sure to send everybody emails letting you know it's live and ready to rock and roll. We're really excited to get as many of our high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools participating again. We have been leading the charge in the nation for working with our elementary and middle schools. I've presented multiple times on the national level talking about how we're starting them young in terms of exposure and experience with the exploration process with careers in college exploration as young as preschool. So, and that's because you guys have helped with that. So I'd like to continue to do that.
We share out a lot of pictures and videos and information on our social media outlets from the commission, from CFWV, from Gear Up. Check some of those out, especially those youngsters. The little ones they're the cutest, and I don't know, they spark an energy in you that makes you excited once again for these students researching.
I mean, who doesn't want to go to Monster University?
Yeah.
So for contact information, please feel free to reach out to John or Heidi or JR or myself. Any of us are here to help you out. And I believe we can open it up for some Q&A right now. Thanks for coming to mine and JR's show and impromptu PowerPoint presentation. Sorry about the technical glitches.
I'm going to stop sharing here real quick.
All right.
And are there any questions that we can help address? I know it was nice to feature a county that and how they organize it on a countywide basis to approach some of these what we call college planning milestone events. So the College Application Exploration Week, the FAFSA completion.
They took an umbrella approach.
And then I don't know how many of you are familiar with the CFWV Champion of College Access and Success Award that we have throughout the state, but you can always check out that information on CFWV.com as well. We do a statewide competition, kind of basically schools competing against one another to try to achieve that champion status. And it's completing the College App Week event, the post-event survey, letting us know how many applications were completed by their seniors. The FAFSA completion, we track that for hitting the statewide goal or improving their FAFSA completion rates by a certain percentage over last year. And then also completing the College Decision Day event, which I believe has been mentioned at some point in time. But College Decision Day is ultimately kind of a college signing day. It's an opportunity to celebrate those students that have made the decision to explore their post-secondary options, regardless of what that may be. Military training, an apprenticeship or internship program, a 2-year, 4-year degree, a wide variety of things that they've committed themselves to do after graduation. So
Alicia or Alicia, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce your name, so I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it. Your question is, will schools be allowed out-of-state colleges to do in-person college visits? That's not up to us. That would have to do more with your county policies or the West Virginia Department of Education policies that are happening at the time, and the university's policies. So you'll need to check with them. If it's up to us, I mean, it's not up to us. So you'll need to definitely check with those with the institution, your county policy, and the state policy.
I want to see answers to our other poll here. Several of you help students directly, or students or families with their FAFSA completion. And roughly almost 3/4 of the ones that have answered.
Great.
So, great. Yep. The more folks we can get on board with helping with FAFSA completion, I know it can be a little scary, it can be a little tricky, it can be a little challenging, but that's why these support networks are out there for you. So help get them to a point where you don't know, and then at that point, make a phone call or live chat or call the student division or Department of Student Aid at the national level. They're one of very few government agencies where you make a phone call and you're going to get a live representative on the phone and they'll answer your question for you. So
our Office of Financial Aid here at HEPC, they're phenomenal. I mean, it's nothing for a Facebook request to come in and I have Judy Keith Smith within a minute and a Facebook Messenger chat with a student and a mother or father or grandmother, and they're working things out, and then a phone call happens. You know, we're here to help you, your students, their families, and if they don't know the answer, they will help you get in touch with the federal student aid folks as well.
And get your students opted into that text messaging through CFWV. I know Kim said that texting is they're a little inundated with it, but the feedback we've received, and I know some of the national statistics aren't showing it, but the feedback we've received in our state has been phenomenal from our students.
It's the quickest way for us to then get them in touch with you. So if we have a student that is desperately in need of FAFSA completion help, and I go and look at the student's back-end data, and I know that Brianna Solomon is that student's teacher, I can then send an email to Bree and say, hey, J.R. Leister, who's one of your students, is needing desperate help with FAFSA completion. Can you call him in for a one-on-one? I know that student's going to get that help the next day at school. Why? Because he texted me that he needed the help. So that's another way through texting that we can help with one-on-one counseling. So where are we on time?
We have just a few more minutes.
Okay, so any last questions?
Any last questions we can help with, or anything we touched on we can elaborate more upon?
All right, guys, then we're going to go ahead and let you out a little bit early. Go ahead and head on over to the gallery area if you like. Oh, do we have something? Thanks, guys. We're glad we could inspire you. I'm glad we didn't completely wreck John Duffy and Heidi Woody's presentation, that we were able to carry it on. Good job, JR. We're quite a team over here. So go ahead and head on over to the gallery area. You've got time to go explore some of that. The next session starts at 3:30. 3:30.
I think 3:30.
3:30. Yes, 3:15, 3:30. You'll have another set of hour-long breakouts. And then, guys, remember, the burst sessions start immediately after that. There's a really quick transition this afternoon. Yep. So once again, thanks for being here. Go ahead.
Yep.
Sign
Thanks.
off.
Yep. Appreciate it.
All right.